which is our planet.
There you go.
Period.
So and I know I can trust you to bring us back to the being one with the earth.
Yeah, of course.
Being in touch with the universe, which is part of it.
But there has to be a balance.
Correct. But here's what happens. Everybody, now you are my spiritual sister.
Right.
You have been for a while.
Yes.
And in a lot of different ways. I mean,
yeah, that's right.
Our connection, but also your connection to the universe, which
that's right.
I love. This is a award-winning author and writing science fiction novels and stuff like that. Like, that's part
Tell
of who
me more
you
about
are.
my eyes.
Growing tomatoes and all that.
I grow more than tomatoes.
Here's what people need to understand about the Green New Deal. I said the New Deal is the big part of it because, again, the last time we had a New Deal in this country, it changed the way that we live.
That's right.
We're looking at Interstate 95. That is a result of these wide, sweeping, big policy changes.
Right.
What happened when we decided as the world that we wanted to go to space?
That's right.
We decided to build NASA.
That's right.
The Russians did their thing. The Chinese did their thing. People started working together. Europe, America, Russia. We got spaceships built. They figured out how people not to die to go up into space. Now, you know, I know there's a lot of conspiracy theories. My whole point is there was a marshaling of resources.
That's right.
That's why we have railroads, why we have interstates,
infrastructure,
we have, the FAA and airplanes.
It was
all
practical.
That being said, we've got to do that to save the planet, but also to save our future.
That's right.
So I was saying something before we got off. There's basically about 3 things in the Green New Deal that are really important.
Well, okay,
right?
so for those of you
jumping ahead.
You jumping.
Right.
You jumping, but that's good. I'm glad. I like your excitement. So lots of people don't truly understand what the Green New Deal is, and the narrative around it is, who is this young whippersnapper?
Yeah, all is it on Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
That's right.
Which she Congresswoman, youngest woman ever.
Yes. Yes.
Very brilliant woman, and she is very passionate.
That's right.
Love her passion, love her energy.
Yes.
They released they had a big release last month where they put out this plan, the Green New Deal. It's not new. That's people need to understand. This is not new thinking.
And we should also understand that it's not the deal, it's the framework for it. It is
correct.
It is an outline.
It is not an official policy.
That's right.
It is a roadmap.
That's right.
The Obama administration had also a very similar, not as robust as AOC's is, but a very similar approach. People have been talking about the fact that we need to have a policy agenda for the planet, and it's more than just tree hugging and recycling. For instance, we talking about jobs.
That's right.
So people forget the fact that if people don't have a living wage, then you cannot sustain the next generation. You can't build wealth if you don't have income.
That's right.
You cannot.
In this current situation.
Exactly. So you don't get too deep on me. Stay with me.
We're gonna go. We're gonna go. Where are you going?
There's the physical part, which is the environment. So carbon emissions, super huge, right? We less waste. We got to reduce our carbon, and we'll talk about what that is. Then there's this issue about economic justice.
Right.
So jobs are important.
Yes.
Wealth building is important.
Yes.
Income is important.
Yes.
You need to have that. Then the other part of the Green New Deal is just really looking at the whole issue of treating more than just its economic development.
That's right.
So it's jobs for people have. It's environmental safety, environmental improvements.
Yes.
And then it's this looking, how do we improve the future and education systems as well.
That's right.
So
it impacts everything, and if we can begin to look at ourselves and the planet and our environment are both immediate and the bigger global perspective, we begin to look at ourselves as a part of an ecosystem. You know what I'm saying? I think some of these ideas that we have, we are part of a whole. We are cells in a body. If we can begin to see ourselves not as separate, but as one whole thing, I believe that the narrative, how we discuss these things, starts to change because our environments are impacted by the choices that we make.
Correct.
And the kinds of jobs, locations that we choose, that kind of stuff impacts the way we get to educate our kids and the way our kids are educated.
Well,
all of those things
all that
are surrounded,
together.
and it also impacts the kinds of health, the livelihood we live. If the air quality is poor, your child more than likely has asthma.
Yeah.
And the fact that asthma has risen exponentially in the last 10, 20 years, that is saying something about our environment.
So I've been at the nexus of this this kind of environmental justice movement for some time. And when I was, even some years ago, when I was promoting films in Hollywood and creating all that fun stuff in film and television and movies and all that, and movies are films, and music rather, we were working with films like Oceans, Participant Media, and Disney playing that, working with all sorts of environmentally friendly, purpose-driven content.
Yes.
The reason why people of color need to care about this stuff, particularly people in cities, is because we are being the most affected.
That's right.
By the concentration of environmental factors.
Yes.
For instance, Flint, Michigan,
yes,
right, is got, and God bless the people of Flint, they're still struggling. But in this city alone, where we have a poverty level that is close to 30% of the people living in Philadelphia in poverty, you've got bad copper piping that is leaking out copper waste into people's water supply. You got kids going to school every day. They cannot drink out of the water fountains. You've got lead paint at levels that are astronomical, and so all these developmental delays. The environment that a lot of people live in is toxic.
That's right.
And is making people sick.
That's right.
So here's the other part of the Green New Deal. It's justice.
Yes.
So there has to be, so Wes, the caller earlier, talked about the corporations, and they're not going to want to close down. You know, you had 4 energy companies, then you only have 1. And a lot of us can say, well, who cares? Because that's the corporate giant, and we care about each other. Well, first of all, that's a lot of jobs lost.
Yeah.
All right? So we think about it from the top part, but then the people on the ground, we are raising generation after generation of children that are growing up in toxic environments.
That's right. But that's also, to bring it full circle, beautiful about what Frank Cortez was talking about, that it's really not that expensive to get the solar panels, which takes some of your power back.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that impacts how you live. And I feel like the bigger discussion that we have is the more that we know that we can do for ourselves, the less power we're giving away.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean? The less we're impacted when those things happen.
But we keep going back. Keep pulling your camera out, right?
That's right.
Pull the camera lens out.
That's right.
And if you say, hey, I want to get a solar panel, what do I need to have in order to have a solar panel?
A home.
To own a home.
A home.
Home ownership.
Come on, son.
Is the biggest detriment to
That's
wealth.
right. That's right.
So we've got it. So why does this impact our folk, if you will, people of color? Because we need many more people of color owning homes.
That's right.
So they can do things like more than just get a solar panel.
Yes.
Get all the lead paint out. Have a place for your kids to grow.
Yes.
Build some at least a anchor for some wealth
That's
building.
Right. That's right.
Anyway, I'm preaching now. Who
no,
we got on the, we got
please
somebody on the
preach.
lines. I'm gonna keep. I'll press pause and I'll come back to it.
Yeah, put a pin in it.
Yeah.
Betty from Lansdowne.
Hi. How are
Hi.
you? I love this conversation.
Oh, good. Welcome to Reality Check.
Thank you.
Hey, Betty. What's on your mind?
Well, I have a couple questions. I don't think I'm going to be able to go Saturday, but I'm actually in a transition to different fields, like job-wise. So this is kind of something who's like very interested me. So since I'm not going to be able to attend Saturday, is there any other way I can get information?
That's a great question.
That is a good question. And you know what we're going to do? We will figure it out. I want to say it's going to be filmed, but don't let me.
Well, we're going to figure it out.
We're going to figure it out.
Betsy? What's Betty? I'm sorry.
Betty.
Betty, you stay tuned, and we're going to get that info for you and share it for you.
Okay. I know I got the email to Frank Ortiz. He said to email him to talk about the ECA program.
Yeah.
All right, so I can look on those two, and then I can still tune in.
Yeah, if you go ahead, if you go Google some of that, like the ECA is easy to find. The Energy Council, the Philadelphia Conservative piece too. You can just go ahead and Google those.
How did he spell his solar? Is that S-O-U?
It's S-O-U, like the soul
solar.
in your center of the core of your being. Solar.
I know, right? S-O-U-L-A-R. And yes, the event on Saturday is going to be filmed. So when we figure out when it's going to be up, we'll make sure that the listeners know about it. We're going to call you specifically, Betty. We're going to call you.
How do you get to go to the avocado. I actually have avocado seed on my windowsill. I don't know what.
You put it in water, didn't you?
I put it in the water.
No,
I don't know what to
you
do.
got to put it in dirt. And you know what? I went to a farm conference, and I was telling them that I grow avocados.
Can you give her how to do the avocado?
Put it in dirt.
Okay.
When it's already
And do
sprouting, and just put it in dirt and
Just
leave it
any old
alone.
dirt?
Okay.
Whoa,
Special dirt?
You want special dirt?
Dirt with high alkaline count or something?
No,
What
you
is
just
it?
put it in
No idea.
potting soil. You're
Okay.
growing it in a pot.
And you just put it in a pot in your window.
You don't even have to put it in your window. Just put it in a pot. Like, I am so reckless. There is,
Okay.
is no, there's. And
I just wanted her to get.
They
wait a
call
minute,
me
I know you
the seed
because
whisperer.
I know that, but I wanted her to get the technique because you're gonna go down this long. Go ahead,
I
Betty.
wasn't. No, that's the technique. A lot of people use they put it in water, and that's what the technique that is recognized. I guess.
So
it's
buried
not
in
true.
Betty, do you have a backyard?
Don't put it in the backyard.
Why not?
Don't put it in the backyard.
See?
Put it in a pot.
All right.
Put it in a pot. Just put dirt, potting soil. Put it in the pot.
Obviously, I do not. Farm
No, you
or
don't.
plant. No.
And the whole idea is that we don't live in a zone where we can grow avocados outside. But if you put it in a pot, you can grow them in the house.
It's just like California.
I'm just saying. And the farmers were like, "How did you grow avocados?" I put it in a pot in some dirt. I didn't do the water method.
So don't do the water.
No, that's a farce. They lied.
All
to
right,
me.
Betty. Good luck with your avocados. I want you should follow Envy McKee on social media, and then you should just tell her how your avocados are growing.
No,
there.
totally.
Yeah.
And then I have another one, Star People-ish. But you can go to Envy McKee and you'll find it.
Okay, thank you so much. I love your show.
Thank
Oh,
you.
thank you, Betty. All right, Tyrone.
Peace and blessings to everyone.
Peace and blessings. Gotta call
Hey, Tyrone.
Tyrone.
Look, my comment is so minute after hearing everything that was said. But I got to say it because, Envy, you kind of touched my soul in terms of the potholes. If you look at the infrastructure, you mean to say that the infrastructure, the roads and the byways cannot be a part of utilizing green technology to deal?
Yeah.
They're no longer potholes. They are craters.
They're crazy.
No
That's
doubt.
the
No doubt.
truth.
No, listen, no, this is the honest goodness truth. Because when you hit them, it takes part of your car.
Oh, absolutely.
With it. It's like
You might
that's a
lose your
pathway.
whole car. I literally saw somebody at the car in the hole.
And I
Stuck.
feel like that is so crazy because in 50 years, we have had more than enough time to figure out how to make roads that don't do that.
And my sis, that's why I am calling. Because when you said that, I had to call because it does not make any sense that in all these years, we have not figured out what to do with these potholes that are now craters.
I'm saying.
Well, you know what, Tyrone? There is some technology that some you see it being used. Now the problem is that again the corporate question. So you've got companies that have been making asphalt, which is designed to break down, and now what do? So they've got to innovate, or someone else comes along and develops a polymer or a polymer rather. Oh, I got
Solar
that.
panels.
No, not panels.
But what
the
I'm
actual
they're-
backbone
Oh, I
for
see.
a road.
Right.
You can't drive on a solar panel.
You can. You can.
All
You
right.
can. They have them. Oh my God,
All right,
Shelton,
Shannon,
they
be
have
quiet.
them.
No, stay on message.
I am.
Tyrone, go ahead. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I apologize for envy.
Don't apologize for
I
me.
have to. Go ahead, buddy.
Tyrone, we are on the same page.
Well, look, I'm done. I mean, all I'm saying, like you said, 50 years, and it's, like I'm saying, the only thing that have grown is the potholes.
Potholes and weeds.
Yes, thank you. Say it loud for the people in the back.
Thank you, buddy.
Thank you so much. I feel like we don't talk about this enough. We just because we get into a
Driving on solar panels?
No, they actually make you're not
Yeah, I know
physically.
that.
But what I'm saying is that innovation. I always tell people, anything that is not growing is soil. right? That's some farm wisdom for you.
Yes.
And unfortunately, because we have monetized all of these things, we've monetized our healthcare, we've monetized food, we've monetized all the things that used to kind of be plentiful, and, you know, oh, you need a tomato, here's a tomato, you know, since we're going to go with that theme. And because we've monetized these things that should be essentials, the dynamic is different. So now we're more concerned about what the profit is than we are about doing the right thing. You know what I'm saying? The right thing is to innovate these technologies for our infrastructure. That's the right thing to do. But the profitable thing to do is to make it shoddy so that we have to keep redoing it, and then that feeds the industry of, oh, you need a new tire now, you know, and then that feeds the I know, stop it. And then that feeds the industry of, oh, I need a new rim, and that we feed all of these industries.
Well, but that's why we call. I mean, that's why we call consumers. When people consume, means that at some point it's going to run out. It's a finite resource, so it's going to run out.
There has to be another business model where companies can make money and still do the right thing.
That is true. I think there's this intersection between how much does it cost to I saw the people, you got to see the total cost of owning something, right? So let's say you buy let's say when this whole issue around American cars and Japanese cars, remember that was a big thing in the 80s, the 90s, fact that the American car business is going to die. But what they found was, while Japanese cars cost more, they cost less to maintain. Right. They broke down less, and they lasted longer. So when you stretch it out over the time of ownership, you say, well, actually, I paid more up front, but this has more value, and I paid less in the long haul.
That's right.
That type of vision, when you scale that for things like roads and bridges and tunnels and railways, gets a little more tough. So we've got to continue to grow what we do, and I think the challenge that you have with capitalism is that everybody in the marketplace is trying to get the most for what they produce. Period.
Yes. And so we're going to go to break, but we also have to understand that model isn't working for modern society. And so people like
it's working for some folk.
It's not working for the majority of the people that live on this planet.
I agree.
So when you're talking about congested wealth and in the one dynamic, and everybody else is like, well, sucks to be you. That's not how we live.
We're going to talk about economic justice on the other side.
We're going to talk about economic justice, and we're going to talk about why this new Green New Deal and Alexandria...
easy for you to say. AOC.
AOC. Mm-hmm. Why AOC is such a powerful disruptor, and that we need to pay more attention to her. You're listening to 900 AM, 96.1 FM WURD. I'm Envy McKee, Shelton Mercer. We're in for Charles Ellison, who's living his best life. We'll be right back.
Now, a traffic update on Word Radio.
Lots of slow spots on the Philly roads. This traffic report is sponsored by Positive Coaching Alliance. On 95, as you head northbound, there's stop-and-go traffic, Penn's Landing to Bridge Street. Southbound 95, it's heavy from Woodhaven to Academy. Begin the Betsy Ross Bridge to Girard, then jams Ridley Park to the Commodore Barry. Vine Expressway, eastbound jams 76 across the 95. Westbound is heavy from 8th Street into Broad Street. Schuylkill Expressway, eastbound jams getting on at 202 all the way down to Belmont. Jams again Montgomery to South Street. Westbound Schuylkill is stop-and-go from University to the Vine, and Montgomery out to Belmont, heavy again through the Conshohocken Curve. Boulevard northbound jams the Schuylkill Expressway to Broad Street. Southbound is stop and go Ridge Street back to the Schuylkill, and the Blue Route northbound is heavy as you get on from 95 to north of McDade. No big delays on any of the bridges over the Delaware River. Through South Jersey, 42 southbound jams the Walt Whitman Bridge down to 295. 676 southbound's heavy, Morgan Boulevard down to 42, and 295 southbound slows 73 to 70, then again from 30 down to the 42 freeway. Got issues with youth or high school sports? Positive Coaching Alliance can help. PCA, a national nonprofit, offers more than 1,000 free online resources for youth and high school sports coaches, parents, students, and administrators. Visit PCADevZone.org. For more traffic information, log on to SIGAlert.com. I'm Brandon Joseph with your Philadelphia area traffic.
News you can use
exclusively on Wake Up with Word.
Hosted by the rapping professor, Dr. Aaron Smith. Weekdays, 7 a.m. till 10 a.m.
on Word Radio, WordRadio.com, and on the Word Radio app.
This vignette is brought to you by Temple University.
Temple's Pan-African Studies Community Education Program, or PASEP, was founded in 1975 by the late Annie D. Hyman, a Temple University graduate and North Philadelphia community activist who sought to bring the university to the community. For almost 40 years, PASEP volunteers from the community give back to others what was given to them in knowledge, skill, inspiration, and example. Community is no better exemplified than in the PASEP philosophy. Courses include how to own real estate, African American studies, academic enrichment, rites of passage for young adults, economics, computer literacy, meditation, recovery, how to publish your own book, and workforce development skills. Classes are held at 1509 Cecil B. Moore Avenue in the Entertainment and Community Education Building on Temple's main campus. For more information or registration, please visit pascep@temple.edu or call 215-204-1993.
This vignette has been brought to you by Temple University.
Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM.
WURD.
The Philadelphia Sheriff's Office is joining with Neighborhood Assistance Corporation of America for a home ownership workshop this Saturday, March 2nd at the Philadelphia Masjid at 4700 Wyalusing Avenue in West Philadelphia. The home buyer workshop will feature a presentation about how to buy a home at a sheriff's sale, so you can consider whether this is the right path for you to find your home. Philadelphia Sheriff Jewel Williams and experts on the sheriff's sale process will be there to answer your questions. Portions of the workshop will be carried live on Word from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. on an expanded edition of the Sheriff's Roundup. So join us this Saturday on Word from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. for a special edition of the Sheriff's Roundup live from the NACA Home Ownership Workshop. You may be closer to owning a home than you think.
Arden Theater Company presents August Wilson's Gem of the Ocean. Set in 1904, this first installment of Wilson's American Century Cycle journeys to Pittsburgh's Hill District to tell a mystical story of freedom, justice, and redemption. Playing February 28th through March 31st. For tickets to August Wilson's Gem of the Ocean, go to ardentheater.org or call 215-922-1122.
Reality Check
with Charles Ellison right now on Word Radio
and WordRadio.com.
Yes, welcome back to Reality Check with Charles Ellison. I am not Charles Ellison. I'm Envy McKee. Shelton Mercer is on the...
I am not Envy McKee. You are very happy about that.
This is a special eco reality check. And we are doing such things in alignment with this fabulous, the future of work in Philly's green economy that is going down, going up. On March 2nd, 11 to 1 a.m. at PAFA, which is the Pennsylvania Academy of Fine Arts, 128 North Broad Street. If you want your tickets, go to WURDradio.com. And so we thought it would be like cool, since Charles is out living his best life.
We are living our best life.
Well, we are too. But I mean,
especially since I see you.
Oh, that's so sweet.
You know, this happens every 2
Can I tell you about
years?
Shelton? Can I tell you about Shelton?
Shelton. Here we go.
I didn't even give you his bio, but I'm gonna go get his bio right now.
Here we go.
No, it's just so that folks know the magnitude of what's going on.
Say this off the
No,
off
but
the
I'd
top.
rather read it because
we go way back. Do not read anything.
Oh, I am reading it. I'm so reading it. I'm so reading it.
That Wikipedia page is not accurate.
I don't do Wiki. I do. I really do Wiki. Fortune 100 bred serial entrepreneur, speaker, and philanthropist Shelton Mercer is CEO of Mashable Award winner and celebrity-driven social enterprise Twit Change.
Oh my goodness, that's old.
And a partner at Benjamin's Desk, where he oversees innovation ecosystems that cultivate.
All right, press pause. You got the old version. Yeah.
During his previous work with enterprise tech giant Lucent Technologies and the Mercer Advisory Group, Shelton built and led teams that delivered solutions for dozens of global market leaders, including Disney, NBC, Warner Brothers, GE, KPMG, and Johnson & Johnson.
Oh my goodness.
A deep passion. I'm just playing.
Yeah, you keep going.
But anyway, you get the gist that he's kind of a big deal.
It's a little old, actually, but it's all good.
I remember it was this mic that you were sitting behind that you actually said the words, what did you say? I ride planes the way some people ride trains.
I knew you were going to do that. It was actually like, y'all take the subway.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. See how you do?
Well, you capped it up. Thanks. Your ego wouldn't let you let it go.
That had nothing to do with ego. That was a fact.
It was cute.
Anyhow,
either way.
this is my hometown, and you know what? So it's funny.
Are you still bi-coastal?
Somewhat, yeah. Yeah.
Bi-coastal,
Yeah.
L.A. and Philly.
I am, but I've been here more on this side of the coast, which is good. I was just out in L.A., but been here. And I'm loving. I started a new company a few years ago. That's not in that old bio. I don't know what that is. Anyway,
it's from the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. I believe that is a reputable resource.
They need to catch up. Anyway, no, I started co-founded a data company that's doing amazing.
Is it 1776?
That's another thing. That's my startup incubators. We have that.
See what I'm talking about?
That's fun. That's a great thing. Yes, that's all good. We're doing innovation with universities, and I'm doing stuff with cities and governments and all this. We're having a lot of fun. But, I love creating things. So created a big data company, co-founded a few years ago. And we're working with all the media and music and sports and collecting data and doing good stuff. We're doing good things with data, unlike some of the folks that we won't mention that are.
And you were one of, you pulled me in and for the Philly. Remember, it is it's Black Friday, and then it was
Giving Tuesday.
Giving Tuesday.
Yeah.
We
did a live stream.
We did, but I'm trying to figure. I was gonna say you created it.
I did not create Giving Tuesday. That was Henry Timms, my good buddy.
Henry Timms,
good colleague of mine.
And it was in Philly that it popped off though.
We had the first live stream in Philly that Philly had ever done.
But people had never heard of it before.
No, we were the first, and I appreciate it. It's still online. We did a broadcast. It was great. It was Giving Tuesday. We brought on some folks
and what Giving Tuesday is, for those of you who are not aware, Giving Tuesday, like Black Friday, is kind of like the consumption junction.
And
Giving
then Cyber Monday came up, which is online shopping,
right?
And
Giving Tuesday is about giving back. So you give to organizations that are philanthropic in their mission. You donate your time, your resources. It's more about, rather than taking, it's about giving something back, pushing forward. So that was kind of dope. And so the whole reason why I said that is that the fact that you answered your phone to come into this, for me to be able to. Goodness. And I have to be clear, he didn't answer his phone. He didn't answer the phone. He just texted me instantly, and then we talked later.
I did text you.
But under normal circumstances, it doesn't matter. I was not secure that this day would happen, and I got 2 days out of him, and I haven't seen him in like 13 years.
You are one of the dearest people in my world.
Aww,
okay,
honey.
And when you call, I will eventually.
Right. Eventually, that's a word. That's a word.
I might say, "Hey, is everything okay?" The days get long, they get full, but it's I'm happy that I don't know what it was. I saw you, and
because Spirit told me. When I was asked to do this, when Spirit, I mean, I can't even describe it better than that. Spirit told me, call Shelton. And I was like, okay,
and
but he don't
he don't answer his phone. He takes a long time to text me back. I know, I get it. But I'm here, and you know what? Because this is a passion of mine. I mean, a lot of my world is between building companies and then making impact around the globe. So
he says it so cavalier, like he's picking up Legos.
Oh my God!
He's like, and
I'm just blessed, and it's about a call. It's about a call. Come on, we've been doing this for a while.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I would have you no different. I was hoping you would wear your big belt buckle.
I do have a belt buckle on.
Yeah, but it's not your big one.
It's not a big belt buckle.
No,
anyway.
I was telling everyone about your belt buckle or behind the scenes.
Is that what people were texting me like? What is she talking about? Can you get there so she stops all that? All right, so now get us back online.
So yes,
Green New Deal.
So the whole
sustainability,
right? So we're unpacking
loving the earth.
You gonna let me talk?
Yeah.
So we're unpacking this a little bit, and I feel like when we think about the Green New Deal and we think about politics just in general, especially in this environment, this political environment is so toxic. You know what I'm saying? It's really complicated to have a thoughtful discussion and really have a conscious discussion about anything, because everybody is so, well, you're this and I'm that, and all of it is very I want to say it's philosophical, but it's really not. It's kind of like in the superstition phase where, we're reverting a little bit because when we talk about
we're reverting
socialism,
a lot of it.
When we talk about socialism, we're not having a thoughtful discussion about socialism. We're having one of those old school discussions like you're a communist,
right?
And that
that's why you get people saying democratic socialism. Socialism.
Right.
You heard Bernie Sanders saying this.
That's right.
But we do have a challenge because we're in a society right now. We're in a culture where everything is divided. So we're going to be divided. Period.
Right.
And even among those who are supposed to be, I don't play this both sides stuff. I can't stand
there aren't any sides.
I'm on the side of I want to live.
That's right.
I want a planet that works. I want my children to have a future. I want your children and her children and all that, right?
We want there to be a future for humanity.
Correct. I mean, listen, we can argue about certain things that are going to have philosophical policy differences, whether you're on the right or the left, or you're red or blue, what have you. But when it comes to one resource, we got one planet.
That's it.
And how does that? The challenge, though, I think, to bring it into the wheelhouse of some of our listeners, people say, well, yeah, I'm living in Philly or I live in another city, and I'm not a tree hugger. I can't compost. Well, you can compost.
You can. It's so easy.
I know you're gonna say that, but I'm not growing a farm. All of that. We gotta get away with the cliches and the stereotypes.
That's right.
Right. Everybody's not gonna be Envy McKee. Our star goddess here, who's so in touch with the earth that you live and breathe the atmosphere and the stardust. I mean, I know that.
I feel
about
like you are doing the most right now.
No, I'm doing for real. I didn't even read your bio. You
don't need to.
I just pulled that out. Freestyle. Here's my point.
You're right.
Justice. People got to understand this. The environment that we're raising our children in cities right now is toxic for a lot of reasons.
That's right.
The air that they're breathing, the places where they're living, the food that they are eating.
And it is so bad. Even the food that we're growing, whether it's organic or not, the soil is so overrun.
Now,
the nutrients aren't even.
I get it. But you would tell me you'd rather.
I get it, me?
Yeah, I did. But you'd rather have your child eat some greenhouse tomatoes than some Doritos. Would you not?
Absolutely.
Okay.
That's not the point I'm making. What I'm saying is the way that we are treating even the good stuff. I'm using rabbit ears is toxic.
That is
you know
very
what I'm saying? We're toxifying the stuff that's supposed to detoxify us. And so we have to do something different.
Totally agree with that. I think that then we get into the micro places. The larger places are, why should I care about this whole movement toward green and socialism, as they're calling it, this Green New Deal? Because the New Deal, again, I focus on the New Deal part. And people, brown folk, we need to think about this.
Yeah.
The New Deal, that Green New Deal, is going to provide a new future for brown and black people. And it's not just
if we know about
that's my point. I'm assuming, and it's for everybody. But what I'm saying is, we got to stop the silos. So this is not an issue for mainstream America or white America.
That's right.
This is an issue for America and the planet.
Yes.
In fact, some of the places where people are affected the most by climate change, by pollution, by carbon emissions, are places where people look just like you and I.
That's right.
And they're not just in other countries, other continents. They're right here.
They're right here.
America.
And the biggest, I feel, injustice in all of this is the fact that through redlining, historically, the way that our communities were set up.
Well, we talked about home ownership.
Yes, they created an environment where people were in a loop, where they could the places where supermarkets are accessible. Some of the greatest food deserts are in our communities, black and brown communities.
So I'm glad you brought that. I was gonna food deserts. Why do we use that term? What is a food desert?
It is a place where a supermarket is not.
So there's no food there?
There's fast food.
There's plenty of food, right? So here's our challenge is not food deserts.
Plenty of food.
There's plenty of food.
What do you consider plenty of food?
There are plenty of things for people in urban communities, urban neighborhoods to eat. Sometimes at any time of night that they want. Let me finish.
Fresh food.
There is a nutrition desert.
Ooh, I like that. That's
not a
good,
food
Sheldon.
desert.
That's good.
All right?
Yes, that's good, Sheldon.
All right.
A nutrition.
And the church said amen.
In the church, and he used to be a not pastor.
Yes, a pastor.
He used to be a pastor too, by the way. If you didn't know that.
Still have my my ordinations, my anointments.
I'm gonna keep my shoe on for right now, pastor.
Are still there. Here's my point.
Yeah.
There's plenty of food. You can go down to North Philly,
yeah, but
to
it's
West
not
Philly.
food. I feel like that is a misnomer because that is not food.
But
There is no
here's
nutritional
the
value
problem.
in that. It's like
Here's
eating
our
plastic.
problem. But we got to stop. We got to challenge ourselves to say there's a food desert. There's food scarcity.
Well, it's linguistic convenience.
But if we change the way we speak,
You're
it'll
welcome.
change the way. That was really great.
You're
too.
welcome.
Yeah. Change the way we talk.
Yeah.
And we might change the outcomes.
Okay,
and the
and
focus.
agreed.
Right?
Agreed.
So there's a whole lot of fat kids in the hood. All right?
Because it's a whole lot of not food in the hood.
They are eating. So we process foods.
Yes.
Fast foods.
So
foods
how do you condense that people are not going to itemize? You know, I like nutrition desert, but I feel like that doesn't really encompass what the problem truly is.
Here's the challenge, though. I am
fresh food, vegetables,
fresh and whole foods. But I'm a uniter, right? So here's my point. I know it. I grew up in this city. I'm a product of Philadelphia, right? Central High, born and raised. Love it. All right. Here's the challenge. If you start creating these divides all the time, we got all this stuff. There's one thing in mainstream America and there's another thing in black America. It's call it one thing in the burbs, it's called something else in the hood. Well, okay, that might be a cultural thing. Right. But it might also be we're missing the opportunity to bring the connected together and bridge together.
That's right.
So
and to start viewing ourselves as an ecosystem.
Correct.
Yes.
So a mother in the suburbs and a mother in the city have a very common thread. They got kids.
Yes.
They want the kids to grow. They want kids to be fed. They want the kids to be safe. They want the kids to be smart. All that stuff they want for them. If one is talking about food desert and the other one's saying, yeah, I don't want you eating French fries and I don't want you eating stuff that's bad for you, they're talking about the same thing. The problem is the mother in the hood has less access to fruits, vegetables, fresh meats, whatever that is. So,
if one knows container gardening, one can can grow one's own food.
Container gardening.
Yes. If one has co-ops.
Or if we have justice where we have supermarkets and supply chain bringing in whole foods and fresh foods.
Absolutely.
And
unfortunately,
cultural shift.
Here's the thing. Unfortunately, though, the way that even the supermarket situation is set up, whoever the suppliers are get the big, larger chains like the Costco's first, and then everyone else gets the scraps. Yeah. So bringing it really closer. Bringing it closer to home and starting having conversations about how communities can work together to make sure that there's fresh food and vegetables for the community. I feel like those are powerful conversations to have.
But here's it. We let the people who are profiting the most and have the most resources. We let them abdicate their responsibility to be better citizens. So
no. That's not what I'm saying, sir. I'm saying
well,
that
you can argue with me on the other side.
We will.
You can debate me.
215-634. But this is what we need to be doing. These are the kinds of conversations we need to be having. Up-leveled, progressive, don't get cut. 215-634-8065-866-361-0900. You're listening to Reality Check with Charles Ellison, although I'm Envy McKee. Shelton Mercer is in the building. Troy Wilmore on the ones and twos on 900 AM, 96.1 FM WRD. We'll be right back.
Now, a traffic update
on Word Radio.
Plenty of slow spots on the Philly roads. This traffic report is sponsored by the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation. Heads up right along the city border in Lower Merion Township. Lancaster Avenue is closed in both directions between City Avenue and Remington Road. That's because of a crash. Getting word that it's going to be out there for a while. Schuylkill Expressway eastbound stop and go 202 to Belmont, then Montgomery to South Street. Westbound Schuylkill jams from University to the Vine. The Boulevard to Belmont, tapping the brakes again through the Conshohocken curve. On the Vine Expressway eastbound at jams 76 all the way to 95. Westbound's heavy to Ben Franklin Parkway to the Schuylkill Merge. 95 northbound jams from Penn's Landing to Bridge Street. Southbound stop and go from the Betsy Ross Bridge down to Girard, then the airport down to the Commodore Barry. Stop and go on the Boulevard northbound, the Schuylkill up to Broad Street. Southbound jams Ridge Avenue back to the Schuylkill. And the Blue Route northbound is heavy getting on at 95. Southbound slows from about St. David's down to Route 1. No big delays on the bridges over the Delaware River. Through South Jersey, tapping the brakes, 42 southbound the Walt Whitman Bridge down to 295. 295 southbound, that is heavy anywhere from 73 down to 42.
The Crohn's and Colitis Foundation of America invites you to take steps for cures at a walk event near you. Support the 1.6 million Americans living with these diseases. Get started at cctakesteps.org.
For more traffic information, log on to sigalert.com. I'm Brendan Joseph with your Philadelphia area traffic.
Brothers and sisters!
Don't miss The Source
Weekdays 10 a.m. to 1 p.m.
on Word Radio.
WordRadio.com and the Word Radio app.
This Black History Month, Woodmere Art Museum presents the opening of Freedom's Journal, The Art of Jerry Pinkney, master watercolorist and renowned illustrator. Celebrated worldwide, Pinkney's works present spirited watercolors and powerful depictions focusing on the civil rights struggle and the pursuit of freedom. Featuring over 100 artist illustrations, including Charles Blockson's groundbreaking Escape from Slavery, The Underground Railroad. You don't want to miss this.
Freedom's Journal, The Art of Jerry Pinkney, now through May 12th. Visit woodmereartmuseum.org.
Word Family. Join us for our first EcoWord event of the new year. On Saturday, March 2nd, we're partnering with Green Philly to host a panel discussion and resource fair focused on the future of work in Philly's green economy. If you or someone you know is looking for new job opportunities in the new economy, you will want to come out. Hosted at Pennsylvania Academy of the Fine Arts, located at 128 North Broad Street. The event will run from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Doors open at 10:30. This event is free, but you must RSVP. Visit wordradio.com for more information and to register. This event is supported in part by CUSP, in partnership with the Philadelphia Office of Sustainability and Solar States. Support independent black media and join the Forward movement now at 215-425-7875.
Or visit wordradio.com.
Hey, Brother Shamari, I hear you talking about JD's Auto Body and Painting. That's where I go.
Nick, I know the owner JD personally, and they always take care of me. You asked me, I told you about JD's when you needed car repairs. I've been spreading the word about their professional work.
I know. I remember now, you sure did. They're at 6300 Wayne Avenue in Germantown, right?
215-848-5949. That's 215-848-5949. I know I have it memorized.
Now, we both agree that JD's Auto Body and Painting is the place to take your car for all your auto body repair and painting needs. They work with all insurance companies and free towing with repairs.
Yeah, free estimates and senior discounts, too.
But I bet you didn't know JD's has a 10% discount for WURD listeners.
Come on, Nick. I know Juanita, JD's wife since elementary school. Tell them Brother Shamari sent you, and you can mention Nick, too.
Yeah, that's right. Call JD's today at 215-848-5949.
Reality Check
with Charles Ellison right now on Word Radio
and wordradio.com.
Welcome back to Reality Check with Charles Ellison, although my name is Envy McKee. Sheldon Mercer's in the building. Yeah. Shout out to Troy Wilmore on the ones and twos. We are having a special eco reality check today, and we are doing this because we are getting you primed and ready to go get your work on, get your vocation on. We're talking about the Green New Deal. We're talking about green jobs. We're talking about really shifting how we look at the environment and our interaction with the environment. I feel like we don't talk about this enough in the black community. We will have we will have forums on relationships. You know what I'm saying? We will talk about real estate, you know what I'm saying? And what's so interesting,
we talk about selling some stuff,
but
making you rich,
you know what I'm saying?
Making somebody else rich, selling some stuff that somebody created in China. I don't. Anyway, I'm good. Don't get me there.
What was interesting is that there is a push, especially in our communities, about owning real estate, buying back the hood is the code phrase.
Which is good.
But here, no, it's great. It's wonderful. We also talk about gentrification, which is interesting. It's interesting in that this is not what we're going to unpack today. But what we are going to talk about is, don't you find it interesting that if we were more on the pulse of solar, for example, would we not shift the roofs of these houses that we buy and make them solar compatible? In some way, shape, form, or form? You know what I'm saying?
That is an
Would
option.
we not make sure that each of these houses that we are renovating has some sort of garden plot? You know, that takes a lot. People don't understand when times are tough and you can go in the backyard. You don't have to go to the supermarket. You can go in the backyard and pick you whatever you need for dinner. You know,
Well, that's how it used to be, right?
I'm saying, and it doesn't have to be the whole thing, but to have the option.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? To have a little cold storage in the basement because you have a basement. You know what I'm saying? To have a little something when times get rough. You have your rice, you have your potatoes, you have your tomato.
I think we're gonna get you. You're gonna start a YouTube channel. Okay. All right. It's gonna be Eco Envy.
Called Envy's House.
Eco Envy.
It's already in there. It's already Eco Envy.
And you got all the you get all your tips and pointers on how sustainable living.
That's right.
But I remember.
Yes,
so this is so funny. Years
Full
ago,
circle.
when I was more accessible, more available.
I'm glad that you're getting your own way.
No, because people don't know this, and sometimes it's good to share it. So I remember you were making some transitions.
Yes.
We were filming some stuff. I had some film students do some commercials.
I was very new in the game. It was all about the smoothie. It was all about the smoothie.
I saw those videos recently. You know, we did the whole film shoot and test kitchen and the whole nine. And then you were into I'm gonna be growing my veggies and doing my composting.
Yeah, but that was before I even really knew.
You didn't even know what was going on.
No, I had no idea. And it's interesting when you're first trying. That was in my Life Explorer phase. I was just throwing stuff against the wall to see what stuck. And so much wisdom.
Yeah.
So much wisdom happens when you start really taking full 100% control of your life.
I think what's important, and so we can live it from different. My point is that you can live it from different sides.
Yes.
So you are focusing on kind of in that micro space of, hey, I've adopted a lifestyle.
Yes.
That is sustainable, supporting plant-based, the way you eat, the way you live, all of that. That's one spectrum.
That's right.
The other spectrum is maybe my lifestyle doesn't support that. Because my lifestyle doesn't support plant-based. Although I do eat a lot of vegetables. Whole lot.
Listen,
pretty much all I eat. Anyway.
You want to get into a conversation about arguing for your limitations? Is that what you really want to do on the phone?
I'm just telling you. I'm telling you right now. You're going to take me for some avocado toast when we get done. Anyway, we got who's on the phone.
Oh, my God. Cliff from Yaden. Welcome to Reality Check.
Hotep, good to hear your voice.
Hotep, what's up?
Hey, Cliff, thanks.
Good. Just the other day, one of these TV shows, 60 Minutes 2020, had a special part showing how the government stepped in China to promote electric cars and how they are dominating the industry based on the government helping to step in. The point is, the United States government does not. Fortunately, Philadelphia and the local politics has put incentives for contractors to build green buildings. But on the federal level, we're not getting that because clearly this president is totally against it. And his argument is that it costs contractors, it costs big business.
No, it costs his cronies.
But that's what they said.
Yeah.
I understand it's not, but that's their fake argument. So our voices need to be heard louder. I go to different industrial sites to work, and I see where the big oil industry does not want wind industry. They do not want electric to take over from oil, so they are constantly going against the grain. We need better government regulations to force to clearly big businesses' voices is heard louder.
Yeah, that's a very good point, and I feel like a lot of that is we have to become more informed. You know what I'm saying? I think part of it is that a lot of us, the body of us, are not as informed as we could be about these things. And in every industry, we are the innovators. Take a moment and think about any industry that you want, and you add a black person to the mix, and it is just exponentially better. Do you get what I'm saying? And I'm using hyperbole, but you know what I mean.
I like the sound of that, though.
You know what I'm saying? So if we really take this by the reins and make this ours, let me tell you something.
It's got to be. I mean, it's so
We're
Cliff
innovators.
brings up something really, really important because he's talking about the fact that government involvement. And so, on one side, you've got wanting to make government smaller. On the other on the other side, it says should government have more jurisdiction? Should government be regulating? And there's this. You could be on two sides.
From the standpoint of getting money. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like getting grants,
Incentives
getting money,
and all
that
of that.
kind of stuff. I understand what he's saying. In the same token, I feel like our impact is going to be in the private sector with this because government is slow and they take forever, and the change happens in our communities and then it trickles up.
Now, one thing the government does, my last point, that is good for us, the consumer, but the product costs too much. When we do our taxes, if you see on there, they give you an incentive, a rebate if we go out and buy something electric or something innovative.
Right.
However, the products right now, as they exist here in the United States, cost twice as much as the product.
And that's what we were talking about. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Cliff.
Here on the East Coast, electric cars, they didn't get enough mileage. The battery died down. The battery cost 5 times more to replace. You couldn't even climb up hills. It wasn't good in cold weather. So for the eastern half of the United States, electric wasn't produced, just like all your industrial plants.
Right.
Electric does not have the power that diesel fuel has. That's why none of these big-time industrial corporations wanted to use it. Because oil produced much more energy. It's more dirty, yes, but the power it gives. But now the new technology electric is catching up.
Yes.
So one of the things, Cliff, thank you, man. I appreciate you calling. Thank you so much.
Great points.
So he brings up good points. Here's a challenge. I'm gonna bring this into our wheelhouse because they told me to talk more. We can talk about stuff that's real.
Yeah.
He talked about the government.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I get your point. We can talk about private sector and all that, but we are powerful.
Yes.
We saw what happened in 2016. That a certain segment of the population decided they wanted to make a choice, and then we tried to fix it in 2018. We got a long way to go. Here's what I want people to start doing. I really want our folk.
Yes.
All right. To stop being so worried about who's invited to the cookout.
That's right.
And be worried about who's elected to Congress. See, the way you change the stuff is not being in all these little petty, crazy little conspiracy theories and
superstition. You're getting caught up in the rabbit hole.
Just all the stuff we talk about all the time. This person's the coolest. This person's got, this person's invited to the cookout. This person we're taking their card. Jussie Smollett is not invited, but Mariah Carey. Well, I don't know.
Where are we going
Here's
with
my
this?
point with this.
Yes.
He gave you policy.
Yeah.
The reason why you don't have electric cars because it's not advantageous for these car makers because of the way that the way that they're regulated. All right. The reason why oil and gas companies are doing what they do because the government says, hey, you know what? They put restrictions and then they roll them back. So the new Congress that is going in, that is taking over, that was in power, have rolled back regulations that were put in place by former administrations like the Obama administration. So you have, who does it hurt? It hurts us.
Yeah.
Because now we don't have those options.
Yeah.
So you can balance this whole thing about, do we go and protest?
No, I am not of the mind that I tell people all the time.
Or try to do it yourself.
Whatever your work is, that's your work. Protest work for some people, it makes sense for them. I never tell anyone not to do what they're called to do. But what I'm saying from our standpoint, as an amplifier, you know what I'm saying, as someone with a platform, the kinds of conversations that we have impact the kinds of thoughts that we keep. The world is held together by our agreements and our conversations about those agreements. Do you get what I'm saying? And so the kinds of conversations that it's time for us to have en masse is what is my role in this? And then broader, what is my work in this? Like, what is my role as a human being living on this planet? And then what is my work here too? You know what I'm saying? We understand that we all need to be able to breathe. And so there is a certain level of urgency that we need to have.
But we could get, so if we got let's say we got 200 out of the 350 whatever 70 million people and 200 million people together, and we all said we want to breathe better. What will change?
we will start making choices that impact that.
Okay. So we all start
plant
making choices. We plant more trees.
We
can
start
do
planting
all
more
of that.
trees.
Yep.
Yes. But then,
so are those the biggest threats to our ability to have clean air?
I feel like you're not understanding what I'm saying, because I'm saying once you start understanding whose you are and why you're here, you make choices that impact that. So to your point, yes, you start being more politically active because you understand that the people in the local government that do not fall in line with what your goal is to breathe better, you know, you say, you got to go.
So we do both, right? We got to organize and we got to be action. We got to have action. So
now my point, I probably went around the barn a little bit, but my point was that while marches are powerful, it is from a media standpoint, from a drama standpoint, really our work, our action is we start first with ourselves, we change ourselves, and then we'll know what the work is in the broader scope.
No, I totally agree. You know, it's funny. I was watching there's a I think it's Killer Mike. You know, Killer Mike is whatever. I don't agree with all Killer Mike stuff, but he talks about, he had a conversation with Dick Gregory, the great activist Dick Gregory. You seen this?
I saw it. Yes.
And he said, yeah, you know, Dick, we're gonna go march. It was after the I forget what it was. Him and T.I. I think. He's like, we're gonna go down, we're gonna march together, and we're gonna go protest. He was like, what the? And I can't use the words.
Yes.
But he was like, what are y'all marching for? We did that already. Like, you need to go to Capitol Hill. All right? You need to go to the state capitol. Sit down, girl. Here's my point. I said earlier, you like, where I'm going. I said we need to stop worrying about who's invited to the cookout and worry about who's elected to Congress.
You're saying that we have really silly discussions.
No, but we also do some things that are somewhat not archaic. We got to also stop demanding apologies and demand new policy. Uh-oh.
New policy and new people.
Policies. Policy changes the world.
That's right.
I know we got to go. We up against a break. I'm getting hyped with it. Getting warmed up.
Oh, you warm now?
Green
That's
New
it.
Deal.
215.
New Year, new me.
634-8065-866-361-0900. Shelton, have you heard of this article of the kids, their call for the Green New Deal because of their heat days?
Yes, Philly kids.
We're gonna talk
Central
about that.
High School kids, too. Yeah. Central Lancers.
Central?
Yeah.
We're going to talk about that when we come back. You're listening to 900 AM, 96.1 FM WRD. We'll be right back.
Brothers and sisters!
Don't miss The Source.
Weekdays, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m.
on Word Radio.
WordRadio.com and the Word Radio app.
The Kimmel Center presents the Monterey Jazz Festival, on tour for one night only, Saturday, March 23rd. Celebrating its 60th anniversary, the Monterey Jazz Festival is one of the longest-running jazz festivals in the world. The tour, now in its 5th year, features a top roster of diverse Grammy Award-winning young talent and the leaders of jazz's future, including Cecile McLaurin-Salvant and Christian Sands. Saturday, March 23rd. Tickets at kimmelcenter.org.
Enterprise Exterminators will evaluate and eliminate whatever pest problems you may have, specializing in bed bugs, fleas, mice, and roaches. Do-it-yourself kits available. Hurry down to 4943 Wayne Avenue now. 215-849-7070. This Black History Month vignette is brought to you by the Pennsylvania Lottery. Octavius Valentine Caddo was a black educator, intellectual, and civil rights activist, born in Charleston, South Carolina. He was also known for being a cricket and baseball player in 19th century Philadelphia. Caddo began his education at Vaux Primary School and then Lombard Grammar School, both segregated institutions. In 1853, he entered the all-white Allentown Academy. Later, he became a student at the Institute for Colored Youth, later known as Cheney University, where he taught until his death. In addition to his other activist interests, the Civil War increased Caddo's activism for abolition and equal rights. He joined with Frederick Douglass and other black leaders to form a recruitment committee to sign up black men to fight for the Union and emancipation. Acting with Douglass and the Union League, Caddo helped raise 11 regiments of the United States Colored Troops in the Philadelphia area. Caddo fought fearlessly for the desegregation of Philadelphia's trolley car system. His crusade for equal rights was capped in March 1869 when Pennsylvania voted to pass the 15th Amendment, which guaranteed the right to vote regardless of race. This Black History Month, we honor Octavius Valentine Caddo, a voice for social change. This Black History Month vignette was brought to you by the Pennsylvania Lottery. Benefits older Pennsylvanians. Must be 18 or older. Please play responsibly.
Annenberg Center Live welcomes back the iconic Dance Theater of Harlem, March 1st and 2nd, performing a world premiere by Philadelphia native Robert Garland and a work set to jazz hits from the Count Basie Orchestra, Duke Ellington, Fats Waller, and more. Dance Theater of Harlem breathes new life into classical ballet. See Dance Theater of Harlem, March 1st and 2nd at Annenberg Center Live. Get tickets at 215-898-3900 or annenbergcenter.org.
We are progressive and proud and interactive. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at onWURD. This is Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia. Streaming live at wordradio.com.
Welcome back to Reality Check with Charles Ellison, although my name is Evie McKee. Shelton Mercer's in the building. Yes, in the building. Troy Wilmore on the ones and twos. 215-634-8065, 866-361-0900 if you want to chat with us. We are having a special eco reality check these next 2 days. In honor of our Eco Word event that's going down on it's going through on March 2nd.
What is this down up stuff? What is that?
Because it's going down. You say it's going down, but it's not down as an up-leveled event, so it's going up.
So that's an envyism.
Wow. Is it?
Well, I mean, I'm hearing it from you.
Okay. Well, it's the future of work in Philly's. Yes, the future of work in Philly's green economy. It's hosted at the Pennsylvania Academy of the Fine Arts. That's PAFA, for those who are in the know. It's 128 North Broad Street. If you want to get tickets, WRDradio.com is where you shall go.
Yes. Go do it.
So before the break, we talked.
All right, wait, before you do that, I got to give some love. I just got popped in on a legend and a man that I admire for many years. The great Cody Anderson was just in the studio, so it was good to see him. Love this family here. Cody was very, very awesome some years ago when I was a young whippersnapper. And I came in studio to sit in with Nick Taliaferro and ended up never leaving. So for about 3 years, hosted a show there with Marla Davis back when this was getting started here. So shout out to Cody, to Bill, and obviously the Lomax family, Sarah.
Absolutely.
Everybody. Love you guys here. So when you called me and said, hey, it's WRD, it's 900, I mean, I happen to be here.
Yeah.
It just all worked out.
That's God.
So
that's why Spirit told me to call you.
There you go. And that's why the Spirit told me to listen, to answer.
He wasn't jet setting. He wasn't on a plane like some of y'all on the subway.
Oh, boy. Here
that's
we go.
what he said.
All right. So anyway, moving right along. I got the airline miles to show for
Listen, nobody cares. Can I borrow some of your...
The bags under my eyes, too.
Can I borrow some of your...
bags?
No, I want the miles. I want the miles.
Sure, yeah.
Can I borrow some? Can I borrow some?
Take the meetings.
Listen,
hey.
I want the miles you've already accumulated.
No.
You want to gift it? It could be a gift. It could be a gift.
I'll get you a composter, a new one.
First of all,
some stakes for your tomato plants.
The tone. Oh, honey, we don't do sticks anymore. We do teepees.
Okay, teepees.
Yes.
Yeah. We'll get some of those, too, delivered to your door.
Please do.
All right.
Thank you. That's a beautiful wedding gift. I appreciate it.
Uh-oh. When we get married?
Oh, shh.
Oh, wait. Pause.
No, that's not that.
Pause.
This is not that.
Pause.
We'll talk about this
we're going to change it. You know, my old show was The Power of Love. We might have to rewind here.
No, we don't.
And, we are definitely going to get some avocado toast talking about this.
So before
all right, fellas, I'm sorry. All my guys, all day like, oh, what's up with envy?
Yeah.
Anyway, okay. What were we talking about?
Yes.
Yeah,
so before the break, we were talking. We were talking about the students.
Yes, I love this article. So
it is from the Philadelphia Tribune.
Yeah.
And I want to see what the girl's name is.
Abigail Leedy. She's a senior at Central High School. The great, illustrious.
And don't forget Xavier Thomas.
All right,
the cute little brown skinned boy that's in here too.
Hey, Xavier, is he from Central too?
I don't know.
Okay, well, I'm going to give Abigail. I see she's from Central. No. So my alma mater, the best school in the land. Shout out to all my Lancers, 247. So one of the things that's been happening. So here's where we talk about justice.
Do you know what the article is about?
Yes. I'm about to talk about the article.
Okay, we'll talk about the article so people know what you're talking about, and then you can go off.
All right. Yes, ma'am.
See, we have to keep each other in check. You see how that works?
You get one for show. I got to do this all show. keep you on the guardrails. Okay, so the article is Philly students call for a Green New Deal, citing spike in heat days. Now, for those of you who don't know what heat days are, this is the problem with bad infrastructure and the lack of justice. So one of the things that's happened in inner city schools and public schools, they don't have air conditioning. And so
why? Because
why don't
they
have
were
air
built
conditioning?
like factories, because
Exactly.
the children that they were educating they were educating them to go work in factories.
Correct. So early dismissals last year were on the rise. They had a lot of early dismissals, sometimes schools closing because it gets too hot. Because they don't have not just the AC but also ventilation. So what these kids are doing is calling on city council and calling on the local Congress people, and not just local Congress people, but those in D.C. as well, to get on board with the Green New Deal that we've been talking about. So shout out to Abigail Leedy and Xavier Thomas, who
And there were like 15
in,
other kids. There were 15 other kids that went to Dwight Evans' office. They want this resolution.
This is up in Oak Lane, right on Oak Avenue.
Yeah.
So, and that's actually Central's in his district. So, good for them. Exercise. What I say. We gotta stop looking for apologies and go try to affect policy. So they go to the president of city council. They have gone to some of their city council, their Congress people.
Yes.
What we need to happen.
And we hold them accountable. So this is what we want. And if you do not do what we need policy-wise,
we ain't voting.
Then
for
you don't have
we
a
gonna
job.
Vote for somebody else.
That's right.
See, again, now we're cooking with gas.
No, we were cooking
Or
with gas before, but there are
alternative fuels.
There are things, right? Crisco.
Yeah.
Here's the thing: we cannot skip steps. Do you know what I'm saying? We spend a lot of time jumping in the middle. We say, the world is falling apart, the sky is falling, and all that stuff, but we don't take any moments to look in the mirror and really have a come to Jesus, for lack of better terminology, moment with ourselves. How am I contributing to the problem already?
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
No,
We're not
I totally
gonna have...
get that. But there's two sides to it, right? So there's more than two, but the sides are there's the personal responsibility.
That's right.
And then there's the being an activist like these folks are being. So these young people,
or just being activated.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
There's a spectrum.
Yes.
My point is, this will move the needle a whole lot more than folk, sitting around belly aching about what ain't happening and shouting at CNN all day, or whatever people like to do when they don't like what's going on. When you take and understand, and I love when high school students, young people that do this, that say,
it's the kids that are going to take this forward. Absolutely.
And that's why we need more youth in the electorate, in the actual halls of Congress and all of that.
Yes.
Because the relatable, when kids see Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, right? I know. The notorious AOC. When they see her, remember the video they had with her dancing? Did you see this?
Yeah.
Right. So folks on the right put that out.
I love her, by the way.
She's
my girlfriend in my head.
Oh,
I
my
love
goodness.
her.
Yeah, she is awesome. She's a fireball. But it's not just her. There's about 4 or 5
this whole Congress.
young women Congress people that are changing. They're doing amazing stuff. Even the way, this is something people got to start seeing. I want you to go to YouTube. If you haven't, I want you to look up videos. I want you to put in AOC or Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Rashida, the woman that got in trouble for saying we're going to put them, MF out of office. She's from Minnesota.
Yeah.
Ilyan, the one that got, they were upset with her because she said some things about Israel that people didn't like. And then there's a young woman also from California. All right. So people talk about Kamala Harris, right? Kamala Harris running for president. When Kamala Harris was Attorney General in California, she appointed a young woman, Harvard grad, what have you, to oversee the Treasury, right? Or to be like the chief law officer over the Treasury. This woman is in Congress right now. You got to watch these hearings. So people were watching all this stuff with Michael Cohen today, and that was the big news, of course. But they have hearings every day in Congress. These young women are conducting their questioning in ways that people have never seen before. Yeah. I saw AOC create an entire metaphoric screenplay that my writer over here.
I saw it. It was amazing. She did a great
she's like,
job.
let's just make believe for a moment.
Yes, that's right. I saw it.
But that inspires.
I love her. I told you, I love her. And then the fact that the way technology is set up right now, the cameras can turn,
right,
and we can see what goes on behind the scenes. The fact
awesome.
that throughout her process, she's been
able
process.
to share, yeah.
So it's not as daunting. Like we all looked, from a daunting standpoint, I never in a million years would have thought that I would have gone to the Library of Congress for a congressional dinner. Like it was not.
I thought you were talking about announcing something else here.
No.
Huh?
No. My dad and I were invited by our congressperson to go to a congressional dinner in D.C. at the Library of Congress. Yeah. Yes, it was all of the things. And by being there, by getting to experience it, I realized, holy crap, these are just people.
Well, that's the same thing. People say the same thing about Hollywood when they ask me about that. I'm like, they're just like
people.
you. They inhale, exhale.
Right, and that's the strangest thing.
One foot in front of the other.
Because we see them on TV or not, because they're mostly white men. You know what I'm saying? We have this notion of they're over there. But the reality is, they're there because we put them there.
Yeah.
And once you see them breathing like regular people, you go, oh, this is not daunting. you just don't need your job.
I thought you were about to make an announcement about your candidacy or something.
No.
Huh?
No.
What do you mean? I'll endorse it.
Look,
I'll be your campaign. I'll be your treasurer, campaign finance manager.
So let's unpack this for a minute, because you're not the only person that has said this.
Oh.
And
as she says very unhumbly.
No, you're not. But I want to unpack it for a minute, because I'm going, what do you see in me that you think that I would make a good candidate of any sort?
Everybody will listen in as I dote on Kimberly.
No, I don't want you to dote on me. I want some hardcore facts. I want
you.
Yeah, like,
oh my goodness. Well, you have a lot of the qualities. I mean, you are. People talk about woke. You've been woke since I know you, almost 20 years now. You've been woke. Right, but forget all that. Here's leadership.
But I'm not a politician.
Yeah, well, I think that's why the new wave. Now, I am not encouraging you to run for office.
Thank you.
Please don't do that to me.
No, I'm not. But I'm just saying this has come up many times in the course of the last few years. No, but what I'm saying is, like, I'm trying to figure out why would you even consider me? Because
leadership. I feel people are hungry for leaders, and so the reason why. We have such this wave of non-traditional politicians. I mean, Donald Trump, I barely like saying his name, but that he's in office because people have rightfully said that the machine, the way that you run and become a politician, is people are tired of it. They want something else.
Yes.
And unfortunately, that something else was, we know that story's still being written, but yeah, you get what you pay for.
Well, here's the thing. I believe in the Taoist farmer. Have you ever heard the story of the Taoist farmer?
You gonna tell us the whole story?
It's long, so we have to go to break.
We can't hear, exactly.
But when we come back, I can tell you about the Taoist farmer. But no,
you can tell us the Cliff Notes.
I'm gonna give you the Cliff Notes. The idea
when
is
we come back on the other side, because you can't tell this one short. Oh no, we
got 5 minutes.
Oh, so George just said we have 5 minutes. No, you don't have 5 minutes to tell the story.
4 minutes to tell the story?
No, you got 1 minute and 2 seconds to tell the. Come on.
Okay.
No, if you got to look it up, that's too late.
No, it's a parable. Let's just be quiet. Just let me do what I'm going to do.
We already know you don't know how to look up things.
I just did.
Reading 10-year-old bios out here. All right.
There was a farmer whose horse ran away. That evening, the neighbors gathered to commiserate with him.
Are you reading this?
No. This was such a bad...
We are not doing this.
You're
not reading a parable on the air.
Why not?
Tell me the story. Give me the summation. Come on, summary. Let's go.
So this farmer lost his horse. And everybody said, oh my God, shut up. And, oh my God, this is so terrible. And he said, we'll see.
Yeah.
And so then the horse comes back and he brings a friend. Oh my God, this is so great. You have 2 horses. Isn't that wonderful? He said, we'll see. His son, riding one of the horses, ends up falling off and breaking his leg. Oh my God, this is so terrible. He said, we'll see. Then, war breaks out, and, the government says all of the available men have to fight in this war. The son was spared because he had a broken leg. And the neighbors were like, oh my God, this is so great. He said, we'll see. And when he got sick, his son was there to be able to take care. Oh my God, this is so great. The concept behind the Taoist farmer is that nothing really is good or bad. Good or bad is what we assign to things. And so saying that, we view Donald Trump as this really bad thing, and believe me, he's really bad. He's like not a good person. But from the standpoint of the bigger, broader picture, his being in office clicked something on for lots of people. The kind of Congress that we have right now, I believe, would not have happened if people were not so just completely disgusted by the way things are going.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, probably about, I think the complexion, there are more women in Congress than ever before.
Yes.
And 90% of those women that ran said that they ran because of the current climate.
That's right.
Directly related to what happened in 2016, Donald Trump.
So essentially what people did, they invited, people elected essentially the 1950s. That's what they did. They said, oh, I'm scared of moving forward. I'm scared of growing and evolving. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring the 1950s back, and even with the bada bing, like the whole thing.
I think it's something a lot more sinister than that. And you know, we'll see we'll see how far we go off the path there. I think you're that whole "Make America Great Again." I get it, and I've heard so many theories about it, but there's something much darker than just the throwback to yesteryear, and that is a problem that.
Even in the darker part, it's a throwback to yesteryear.
Exactly, but if we don't get to the bottom of that as a nation, we'll continue this downward spiral.
Right.
Because although there's this new energy and activism, and we've got all these woke folk and progressives, we still have a very dark, ugly underbelly that has decided to show its face.
Yeah.
That reminds us that as far as we've come on the surface, when you talk about sentiments of certain very deep-rooted, wide swaths of America, there are some very still dark, ugly
Have you been to the African American Museum in D.C. yet?
I have. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, spectacular.
And understanding that whiteness can be traced to...
Shout out Phil Freeline, Philadelphia-born architect, designed that.
Yeah. Oh my God, it's so amazing. But they point in the museum when you're in the very... I'm not going to ruin it for you if you haven't gone. But there's a
thing.
I'm not. There's a thing that happens.
No spoilers.
No spoil. I'm sorry. I just want to tell you this one part. You can see the date of when whiteness was created.
And on that note,
is a social construct that was created, and there's a date on the wall in the museum that tells you when it was constructed.
Too much of a spoiler.
It wasn't. It wasn't. So now you're excited to go to the museum if you haven't yet.
I don't think
Get your
that
ticket.
was the thing that would excite people, but it's a spectacular place.
But to know that you're not crazy.
Yeah.
That it is a social construct, and that blackness,
created.
Yeah. Because we didn't have our history, we didn't have our language, we didn't have our ancestry. We didn't know any of that stuff, so it became black. Black became a culture, and white became a
We got big
noose.
You see me looking at you.
215
on the other side.
215 634-806-5866-366-361-0900. We're taking your calls. This is Reality Check, the eco version. I'm Envy McKee. Shelton Mercer, 215 900 AM 96.1 FM WURD. We'll be right back.
Brothers and sisters!
Don't miss The Source.
Weekdays 10 a.m. to 1 p.m.
on WURD Radio.
WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Toyota proudly presents In Their Own Words. Words really mattered to Maya Angelou. Born April 4th, 1928 in St. Louis.
Words are things. You must be careful. Careful about calling people out of their names, using racial pejoratives and sexual pejoratives and all that ignorance. Don't do that.
Miss Angelou was a prolific wordsmith, author, and playwright. She published 7 autobiographies, 3 books of essays, and had an impressive list of plays, movies, and TV appearances. She worked side by side with both Dr. King and Minister Malcolm X on civil rights issues. Her honors included 3 Grammys, Pulitzer Prize, and Tony Award nominations, and the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Toyota is pleased to feature historic African American icons expressing themselves in their own words. Toyota, Let's go places.
Listen live at wordradio.com.
I'm Mama Dietz. At Dietz & Watson, we've spent over 75 years focusing on the details. This philosophy started back when my father learned how to make franks and sausages the right way in Germany. Today, we put that same level of detail into everything we make. If it isn't good enough for our family, it isn't good enough for yours. Dietz & Watson, caring like only family can since 1939.
Since 1904, Philly's top sandwich pros and homemakers have always started the exact same way, with those legendary Amoroso's rolls baked fresh daily. Word family, put Amoroso's rolls on your shopping list for your kids' school lunches and your next family gathering. Want to make your very best sandwiches? Always start with the very best sandwich rolls. Pick them up today at your favorite supermarket or food store. Amoroso's, why Philly's sandwiches are world famous.
Reality Check with Charles Ellison right now on Word Radio and wordradio.com.
Welcome back to Reality Check, the ego version. Can I get some applause then? Okay. I'm Envy McKee, Sheldon Mercer, Corey Wilmore on the ones and twos.
I am here.
I'm so glad you're here. Oh my God, this is so great. This wonderful reunion. Shelton has been my big brother for some time now. And I love our dynamic. I love who you are as a person. I love how you are able to. We bring kind of like, I'm like of the earth, the air and the earth and the stars. I'm star people, and you're.
What am I?
You're a corporate zhuzher.
Corporate? Where the hell is corporate?
100. I read your resume.
Where?
I read your intro.
That's like, not okay.
Fortune 100 bread.
Yeah, whatever. All right. Yeah. But I don't wear a suit. I haven't worn a suit, and God knows how long.
Doesn't mean suit. It's just like
corporate.
No, I don't.
I'm transformational.
What?
You can go between different forms. Absolutely.
You're not a fixer. You're a
fixer.
I'm gonna figure out what it is. Well, yeah, that. But I'm just saying, like,
I'm just me. I have my own, my own thing. I've always been independent. You know that.
No,
but you can flow in and out. It's fine. I can listen. But
that's not what I'm talking about. Okay. You're a hobnobber. That's what you're a hobnobber.
I don't know what that really is.
You know what a hobnobber is.
No, I don't.
I don't know what a hobnobber is.
Yeah.
Anyway, Shelton be zhuzher people.
Yeah.
He's a zhuzher.
Okay.
But you help make these things like from a broader perspective.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You help make these things make sense.
Well, I just want people to be. Sometimes we make stuff too complicated. Either we're trying to be too high-minded, or we're trying to be too low-minded, right? So, Jay-Z said, "I dumbed down for my audience." Sold 1 million albums. I ain't been common sense, or something like that. He said, "Yeah."
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree, but I kind of also feel like, I don't agree, because there are levels to this, and I feel like there are people at every stage.
Correct.
Who are going to be the leaders of wherever that stage is. And I feel like if you're being true and authentic to yourself, then you're doing it right. I feel like when you're...
But that's my point. So if I say, for me, when we talk about something like this...
I was just talking about it in reference to the Jay-Z thought process.
Yeah, I know. But see, I'm dealing with just what he said. I know what y'all can get into the, the J and the B debates is not what I'm here for.
What?
My point was, I said the J and B debate wasn't my point was about, we go high-minded and then sometimes we just go too low-minded. My challenge with our folk is I want people to understand that you can sit in boardrooms, all right, and deal with the quote-unquote highest of them, which I don't even like those degrees of levels. Nobody's higher than anybody else.
The way the system is set up is a hierarchy presently, and it's not real, but let's go.
Yeah, it's manufactured, it's fabricated. But then you can also sit down at that street level, ground level, and get with real people.
Yeah.
And go through it.
Yeah.
So for me, you can read all that stuff on the bio, but the parts that I care about are, you know what? I started church in Alney, Philadelphia in 2003. 70 different dialects of language spoken there. We had a a Spanish-speaking service. We had a Filipino-speaking service. We had everybody coming. We had, young and old. I got kids in jerseys.
Why'd you stop?
Oh boy, this ain't the interview time. This was just me sharing. I haven't stopped. I just decided to do. There was a new calling. So then we went to Haiti and Malaysia and Central America and all those places, right? Mm-hmm. Helping with that. So there wasn't a stop. It was there's a new thing to do, right?
And you bring a beautiful full circle moment. Oh. You evolved.
There you go.
You evolved, and the one
Still
thing
evolving.
I'm
in process.
We're all in process.
Downloading.
The problem is, like when we talk about infrastructure, when we talk about environmental issues, we talk about climate change and all those things, the reason why we're having such a problem, other than just the sheer imbalance of the kinds of things we're doing, right, is that we will not persistently evolve. We get comfortable in a place.
Because it's inconvenient.
And
it's not.
Do you know? But
it's totally inconvenient.
My new catchphrase is: faith is a science, quantifiable by outcomes. So you
sounds like a Bible verse. I know.
It might be
in Hebrews 11.
What?
Faith is the substance of things hoped for. The evidence of things you cannot see.
Thank you.
Right.
So my point in saying that is, our outcomes are showing that the work that we're doing is not working.
Yeah.
And we still refuse to change. That's the point. We're doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. And so if we don't continue to evolve ourselves individually and our communities that we grow into, and then the global, the keep spanning out, it still starts with the one person. It starts with you looking in the mirror and saying,
yeah. And if enough individuals do that, then you have a collective critical mass, which is a
critical mass.
But watch this. Here's to bring it back to where we are on our eco kick. The heart of the Green New Deal is about changing behaviors, but not just behaviors on a micro level, changing macro behaviors, which are policy.
Yes.
Right? So here's the scientists, I touched on this earlier. They say, listen, if we don't drastically change the way that we are using fossil fuels and emitting carbon emissions, we are going to take the planet to a place where there will be irreparable damage that we cannot repair. So it's like somebody who smokes, right? Somebody smokes, they start smoking for a while, and then they're like, oh yeah, the doctor say, hey, you're getting short of breath, you should stop, you should slow down, your heart's racing, okay. They say, I'm okay, how are my lungs? Well, your lungs are still okay, but if you keep going, you can get to a point now you got less lung function, and then you've got cancer, emphysema, whatever that is, so all that kind of stuff. Same thing's happening to the earth.
That's right.
When you see things like California, the coldest February in like 60 years in California. It was like 40
snowing
degrees.
In Las Vegas.
Exactly.
It was snowing.
No, like 3 feet of snow in Arizona, outside, not far from Phoenix. Minnesota, Minneapolis, they had the coldest, the snowiest February on record for them, and the coldest day ever recorded, or something like 200 years, right? 50 degrees below zero.
And the thing that irks me is that we quibble about if it's real, if it's not, is it this, is it that, and all of that quibbling.
It's distracting.
It's distracting because it's like, I don't care that you want to argue about whether it's real, whether it's man-made, whether it's just a natural progression of things.
Well, I want our folk to think about, I want brown people to think about this. Hear about this.
Yes.
If the earth is, we already got issues with economic justice, we got issues with social justice. If we're losing out on environmental justice, if the earth continues to degrade, who's going to be the folks that's going to lose first?
Black people.
And we're seeing it, right?
Yes,
that's
black and brown people all
in
over the
a
world.
major city like Flint, Michigan. We can't say this stuff enough.
Yeah.
Flint, Michigan is not some rural town out. And even if it were, it's not a developing. I know third world. I'll use that term.
I called it Detroit earlier. It's Flint.
Yeah, Flint. That have better water supplies than a U.S. city.
It's crazy. It's really.
So what we do, what we end up doing is we start to say, well, that doesn't affect me because, you know, that's all people who want to recycle and hug trees and compost and do all that, you know, sustainable living, and it's just, that's weird.
But guess
and
what,
it's,
honey?
and it's
we
nerdy.
all have to be more sustainable because you see what the oceans look like with all of our plastic.
Yeah, but you say all that, but here's the problem with people. They're like, I don't go to the ocean.
You know, when you go,
you go
to the beach. You go to the beach, and there's syringes floating up on the beach.
That's because that happens in episodes. You got to bring it into people's homes. They got to bring it into real world. What's going on with you today? Because people are not thinking about. It's very difficult for a single mom.
Are
here in
you
Philly.
thinking about it? Because Shelton is telling you what you're thinking about.
Wrong.
215-634-8065, 866-361-0900. Black folks are not a monolith. Some people are thinking about it.
I understand that. Well, prove me wrong. Here's my point. I agree with that. But I think that we got to make it accessible. That's my point. If we start, every time we get when we get too far out here.
Start with the kids.
Kids do care.
Start with the kids.
Yeah.
And you know what I've learned? Just like everything else.
They will start begging you.
That's right.
But let's do our parallel again. You got a mother or a father in a community where they've got, you know, their homeowner, they've got a good paying job, they've got some equity under their belt, they got, you know, cars to get to work, and the kids are going to a good school and all that good stuff. Kid comes home and says, you know, Dad, we need to do something about the whales, or we need to do something about the plastic in the ocean or the ozone layer. You know what Dad does? He says, you know what, Johnny, you're right. Let's go looking on the computer and see what's going on.
I feel like that's not what happens.
Okay? Yeah, it happens a lot. Now watch this. You bring that into a situation where people are working just to get by. You know, month is much longer than their money. All right? Living week to week, pillar to post, hand to mouth. And kids learn something in school about the environment and come home like, you know, we shouldn't get plastic soda bottles or water bottles because they are bad for the ozone. And you know what's going to happen? Listen, this is what we got. So all that sounds great, but we got to survive. Here's my point. It's not a knock on the parent. We got to have justice. That's why it's such a big part of the Green New Deal.
Yeah, but I feel like you're saying we've got to have justice as this big, wide, as this thing. Justice is over here.
Here's what I mean by that. We stop thinking about we think about criminal justice reform. That's all great. You know, people not, you know, black folk not getting pulled over, reducing prison sentences, and all that type of stuff. Here's the justice. We have to fix the issue, the distribution of wealth and particularly income in America. It's the biggest issue we have. The disparity with poverty. People don't have the ability.
Agreed.
When you own what you have, you don't have to, and you don't have to worry about how you're going to eat tomorrow. Then you can think about a broader context of what the earth is about.
Okay. So food, clothing, shelter, and love. Okay.
Okay.
So what do you think about the conversation that's going on right now about reparations?
That's a good one, actually. It's funny that it comes up every election cycle. This time, you've got pretty much 4 of the Democratic candidates have weighed in on reparations.
Which is interesting. Well,
which is very interesting.
I feel like it's
Bernie
powerful.
and Amy Klobuchar.
Do you think, and the other dude?
Who?
Yes.
Castro. Man, that's another whole show.
It is 40 acres and a mule. So
here's my take on reparations. There has to be a wholesale longitudinal plan to provide justice. I do believe that reparations are part of justice.
I agree.
Okay.
I feel like part of the problem here is that America, we're just going to call it like an entity, America, the United States, has never had to atone for slavery. They've never even had to admit wrongdoing. They never had to apologize. They've never had to atone. And so without that atonement, without that admission, you know what I'm saying, that saying, it's hard for the healing process to come because it's kind of subcontext. The subtext of that is you deserved it.
Right.
The context is we did nothing wrong. We did, you know, the fact that all of this country,
it wasn't me.
It wasn't
me.
Well,
it was a long time ago.
Listen,
I'm not paying for the sins of the father,
right?
Of the forefathers, the whoever. That was them. We're different now.
Red table talk.
Yeah. Jada
Pinkett Smith has this show called Red Table Talk. In case you don't know, it's on Facebook. It's a Facebook series, and they had a woman on there that was so fabulous that was talking about this very thing. She was saying that the conversations that she has with white women, they go, well, I'm a white woman, my family didn't do this to you, why do I have to be held responsible for that? And she said, as long as my family, my existence right now still has to deal with the consequences of what your family did, I'm going to still hold you responsible until that justice is served. And I feel like we're not having any real discussion about what that looks like.
Well, I think that's why when I talk about having a new environmental approach to the environment and to what we call eco-friendly, we need to look at what the environment is. The place where you live is your most precious environment. So we can talk about our natural environment, the earth, that's great, but our physical environment, the home, the place where you grow up, where you lay your head every night, if you have one, the problem in that is that there is lack of justice with the folks with a certain sector of society. So when you've got home ownership rates at the levels they are, and I don't have the stats in front of me, but they're abysmal for most black folk in America. You know,
hello.
My point is this: if it were just slavery that was the cause, if we were just living in the wake of 1864,
they created policy after policy after policy after policy.
So the point is that there's been a perpetuation of a system through Jim Crow and segregation, and it goes on and on. So whatever you want to call it, it's injustice. So when I say justice, people ask me what is the most important thing to me. I mean, philanthropy to me has become an overused word. I'm struggling with it personally. And I just had a conversation, two really great conversations about that. But justice will never be out of style. We've got to look at that. And for us as folks who are here, if we look at as environmental justice being home ownership.
Okay, so I'm still trying to get you to tell me what that looks like.
Well, we got to go pay some bills, I can tell you after that. Keep you on track.
He's the best that ever did it.
Suspense.
No,
But on the other side,
don't you give the radio voice. Do not do the radio voice. We do not do radio voice.
1, 2, 3.
No.
Yeah, of course, I'm not going to do that.
215-634-8065, 866-8361, 0900. I'm Envy McKee. That is Shelton Mercer. This is Reality Check, the eco version. Charles Ellison is on vacation. And we'll be right back.
Arden Theater Company presents August Wilson's Gem of the Ocean. Set in 1904, this first installment of Wilson's American Century Cycle journeys to Pittsburgh's Hill District to tell a mystical story of freedom, justice, and redemption. Playing February 28th through March 31st. For tickets to August Wilson's Gem of the Ocean, go to ardentheater.org or call 215-922-1122.
Be heard. Want another way to join the conversation?
Follow us on social media
using the hashtag onWURD.
Be heard.
Stay connected to Word Radio.
Independent Black Media.
PICO is here to help this winter. With LIHEAP, you can get up to $1,000 cash grant towards your PICO bill. You don't have to be behind on your bill to qualify, and you'll never have to pay it back. Even a family of 4 with an annual income of $37,000 is eligible. So don't count yourself out. This deal is first come, first served. So apply now at pico.com/LIHEAP or call 800-34-HELP-4. That's 800-34-HELP-4.
This Black History Month, the Kimmel Center for the Performing Arts pays homage to Alvin Ailey, choreographer extraordinaire, activist, and founder of the Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater.
Popularizing modern dance around the world with his multiracial modern dance ensemble, Ailey became acclaimed as one of the leading figures in 20th century modern dance. Born in Rogers, Texas, his motivation to dance was inspired after seeing a performance by the Ballet Russe de Monte Carlo. After many travels with his company around the world, Ailey ceased his performances in the mid-1960s. 1960s. However, his passion for choreography continued with numerous masterpieces, including Masekela Language, which probed the parallels between South African apartheid and the race-induced violence of 1960s Chicago. In 1989, ALE died in New York City at the age of 58. However, his legacy continues to live through incredible performances by his founding company.
This celebration of African American history is brought to you by the Kimmel Center for the Performing Arts. Visit kimmelcenter.org.
Reality Check
With Charles Ellison right now on Word Radio
and WordRadio.com.
Welcome back to Reality Check with Charles Ellison. I know I did. I had pretzels. It was
This is why you need me in your.
It's not because you
one
can't.
Of the reasons
it was
why.
already done. It was already done. It was already done.
What's the name of the show?
It's Reality Check with Charles Ellison.
Who's here?
But I'm Envy McKee. And Shelton, I don't need you to hold my hand through the intro. I got this. I've been doing this. Don't mansplain me.
Just go
Don't
with
mansplain me.
I'm not mansplaining you.
Shelton
I'm
Mercer.
humansplaining you.
You're what?
Humansplaining you.
No. Shelton Mercer.
Mm-hmm.
Did I miss your birthday?
Not yet.
Oh my God. I almost. Oh my God.
See? Yes, my family here. No, next month. And this March.
Yes.
March 23rd.
Yes. I know.
National holiday.
God. I was having a panic attack. But I'm glad I didn't miss your. Okay, good.
What are we doing?
You're an Aries.
I am an Aries, yeah.
Yes.
You throwing me a birthday party?
No, I'm
Why
not. Why don't one of your fancy girlfriends? Why don't you let them do that?
Wow! Did we just go there? Wow!
Anyway,
shots fired.
It was
Shots
not a
fired.
shot. That was love. That was love.
Man, oh boy. Well,
so the
hope
reason
they're listening. Birthday party. March 23rd.
So great. The fact that you have to say when your birthday is. They're not good girlfriends.
Okay.
Sorry, we have to find you some new
First of all, this is plural stuff. Anyway,
I'm sorry.
All right, what are we talking about? Come on,
yes.
bring it back in.
Yes.
Green New Deal.
No.
Yes.
We're talking about the event.
Okay,
the
event
reason
first, and then I'm going to tell people where they can go. Yes.
Calm yourself, sir.
Anyway. Talk to me in your spirit.
Listen, the show's almost over. That's why he acted drunk. Okay, so the reason why we're having the next 2 days, so I will be in Shelton, too. We'll be back here tomorrow.
I am not coming back.
Tomorrow. Yes, you will. Don't
all right,
you play with me.
Troy said I'd come back. I'll come back.
Okay, good. Oh, you mad?
No, not at all.
Tomorrow. So the reason why...
Yes, I will be back to chaperone.
Because I need you.
Yes. onWURD.
Yes. So there's
Saturday.
a big event. An onWURD event that's happening on March 2nd, which is Saturday, this coming up Saturday, 11 to 1. Mm-hmm. It's called The Future of Work in Philly's Green Economy. It's hosted at PAFA, which is the Pennsylvania Academy of the Fine Arts, 128 North Broad Street. Get your tickets at WURDradio.com. Stop playing with yourself. And stop playing with your life, because the reality is that green jobs are the wave.
Now, can I, if I go to this conference, to this event, am I going to be able to apply for a job or find out information about jobs?
From my understanding, that there are people on the panels from all these different sectors of green jobbings. And so you will find that information out when you go to this event.
Okay. I hope. So here's my point.
Yeah.
For brown people to participate in the green wave means that if they are taking professions in the green economy, now you have representation.
That's right.
And you have built some voice.
That's right.
In what will be a mainstream movement, and here we are. It will be. Yeah. It already is, but it's going to gather strength. We've got to create those types of linkages, which I was going before.
Because it's really, at this juncture, it's about equity. You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
We talk about equality, and I feel like those are, it's
a piece of the pie.
Just the same thing when you talk about the marijuana and that kind of stuff, the cannabis industry. So when you think about that, all of these families that have been broken and destroyed because of the war on drugs, there needs to be some sort of atonement for that. So that means that, yes, you can be an executive in the cannabis industry, but you also need to expunge people's records.
Okay.
Who were incarcerated for being in the cannabis, for being early adopters of the cannabis industry.
Adopters.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we have to really look at it from those standpoints.
Yeah.
And those, interesting, I feel like this might be one of those good things for Young Fearless. Dr. Aaron Smith, in one of his shows, he came up with this gorgeous concept of the Philly platform. The Philly Black Agenda.
Okay.
Right. So wouldn't it be interesting if economic justice was one of those things, and we really spelled out what that means? And not only that, if we put on that justice for those people who are from the war on
drugs. If they don't already have it as part of the platform, and then, you know, certainly. I mean, that's the thing about, again, the job stuff in the career path.
Yes.
And having a voice.
It's an industry now.
You got to be there.
Yeah.
You got to be at the table.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times we want people to, you can build a table, but you still got to sit at it. And I'll wrap it up with this. Go to the event.
Yes.
Find out what's going on.
Yes.
Get yourself informed. Right? So there's a lot of places you get informed. Like people say, oh, this Green New Deal, I don't understand it. So there's a couple places that I want to tell people to go to. One of the best things, if you go to Vox.com, V as in Victor, OX as in X-ray.com, they have an explainer.
Yes.
And if you follow me on social, I'll post it up later today. It's just at Shelton Mercer, Twitter, Facebook,
I think
Instagram.
This is on Facebook Live too, right? Okay, so for the folks that are watching on for the folks that are watching us on Facebook Live and
I didn't know they were watching.
And Facebook Live and all the places that you might be watching us, I will post the link so that you can see it.
So it's an explainer. So there's a big thing on CNN. I mean, you can get a lot of information, but one of the best ones is on Vox, and so that explainer is going to break down the Green New Deal. And the reason why I keep harping on economic justice and jobs in particular, it is a key pillar of the Green New Deal. We need to provide new career paths, and helping the earth to heal and sustaining the earth is a way that people can make a living.
Yes.
And, you know, listen, and perhaps you have inventions that are going to help you do more to make a living, to help you have some real ownership in what's happening. So go to Vox.com or like follow us on social. I know we'll put it up on Facebook. I know you can follow, many are following WRD. And there are the Twitter is at onWRD, and you've got Instagram at onWRD. I mean, my goodness. Wait, Tumblr? Are we still using Tumblr?
No.
Okay.
No, and that was the conversation that I had.
I thought Tumblr was over.
Listen,
okay.
We've already
Facebook at what is that, Troy?
onWURD. It's forward and onward.
Oh,
Facebook is at forward.
FORWRD.
Twitter is at
I like that. I like that.
Instagram is onWURD.
Yeah. And you're at Envy McKee. The other one is a lot. So Envy McKee is easy.
What's the other one? Star People-ish?
Yeah, that's a lot.
It's not.
And Shelton Mercer with a T, not a D. There you go.
What?
I'm telling people.
Sheldon?
Shelton, not Sheldon.
Sheldon.
That little turtle.
No, you look like a Shelton.
I look like a Shelton.
You just need your belt buckle.
No, God.
So thank you so much, Shelton, for being here today.
This was so fun.
Oh my God!
You know what? We got it. The band got back together.
The band got back together.
Like Bradley and Gaga.
Which one of us is Gaga?
Oh, sure ain't me.
Anyway. So we'll be back tomorrow.
So we'll be back tomorrow,
and
we got more of this.
Yes.
But another. We're going to go tomorrow. Where are we going?
I felt like we didn't get as deep into what it looks like from a black perspective to live a zero waste life, because I think we unpacked the idea that we really think it's crunchy, airy fairy stuff, and there's a true practicality to it, and it's when your coffers are low. And do you know what I mean by that? Because I don't use the B word. You know what I'm saying? I don't use that word.
Coffers are low.
When your coffers
low resources.
Your coffers are updating.
Updating.
You know what I'm saying? Your coffers are updating.
Yeah.
There's a real down home practicality to it that our parents and grandparents knew about. There's a real practicality.
I love that you bring that in there.
You know what I'm saying? There's a real practicality to eating better because you're sick less, and if you can't get yourself to the doctor, there are ways of understanding these modalities of using.
Don't give it all away.
I'm not.
Tomorrow.
I'm just saying tomorrow.
All right.
That's what we're going to dig into, and I also really want to unpack. you know, I think we glazed over the Green New Deal.
Yeah.
And I feel like we can really, we can go a little
downloading.
deeper.
So we're updating and downloading.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Well, I need everybody go over there, check out that, check out some of the stuff on Vox and CNN.
Yeah.
We'll get deeper into it. But this has been great. Thank you for the invite, my sister.
Thank you for not being on this side of the world.
Good to see you. Good to be seen. Good to be back here at WRD. I love the people here.
And
so shout out to that family too.
One final word.
And Charles, thank you for giving us.
Yes, Charles,
giving
enjoy
up some
your
time.
vacation. I know you're not listening. You keep on living your best life. Thank you to Troy Wilmore, doing the thing. Okay, so keep this in mind. That the whole part of the reason why we're doing this eco version of Reality Check for Charles Ellison in his absence is that it is so important for you to make your way to get some tickets on Saturday. WURDradio.com. The tickets are free.
Don't wait; they might sell out.
The tickets are free, and we want to make sure that we are properly representative. If you have college student children, relatives, whatever the case, kids in high school, get the kids out to this event. This is important because the earlier that we get folks in on this, the earlier this can be our industry. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm saying? Okay. So it's called The Future of Work in Philly's Green Economy. And we're going to, you know, I understand that we like to talk about jobs, and jobs are important because you have to pay your bills. But in some juncture, we're going to have, when we're in the thriving place, we have to talk about vocations.
Okay.
What am I here to do?
There you go.
You get what I'm saying?
They can be nice and related to each other. So we help people with
you
that.
can have a vocation.
Yeah.
And the work that you do can pay your bills.
I hope you got both.
I hope you got both. So thank you so much for joining us on today's special eco edition of Reality Check. I'm Envy McKee, again, Shelton Mercer, Troy Wilmore. We thank you. We will see you tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow, for same bad time.
Mañana.
4 to 7 on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD. Peace out.